Reports of antisocial behaviour increased nationwide from the very start of the first lockdown. We had customers who lost their jobs, were furloughed, children and teenagers no longer in school, exercise limited to 1 walk a day. So all of a sudden you've got everyone living in really close proximity with the added stresses of financial worries, health anxieties, coupled with neighbourhood officers no longer out and about on estates and courts no longer running possession claims, and there being a huge backlog for things like injunctions. So it's been a really challenging time for antisocial behaviour. We've seen reports, everything from customers complaining that their neighbours are doing Joe Wicks at 9 a.m. on a Wednesday morning when they've got a meeting, all the way through to a real rise in exploitation where perpetrators who would normally fund habits by stealing from shops, 1 in 1 out policies and shop closures have made that more difficult. So there has been an increase in vulnerable residents being exploited and cuckooing. So it has been the full spectrum of incidents that have increased throughout the pandemic. So we've had to really respond to that. The first thing we've done at Leeds Fed is review our policy, and we've committed to taking a harm-based approach. So what that means is we're looking holistically at the problem. So why is it that someone who could previously tolerate their neighbour's dog barking no longer can? Previously we might have said, oh, general household noise or normal residential behaviour. That would be a mistake in the pandemic when everyone's got so many other stresses going on in their lives. So what we've said we'll do is, by taking this harm-based approach, we're listening to the customer, we're understanding what's going on in their life. It doesn't mean we can swoop in and evict people or take legal action, but it does mean that we can provide the right support, we can understand what they're living through at a really stressful time, and hopefully by doing that we're preempting further incidents later down the line where someone just feels like they can't take it anymore, so they throw a brick through the window or they have an argument in the street. So we really are preempting things with that harm-based approach. Also within that policy, we've committed to a zero tolerance approach to hate crime, and we've committed to support the community trigger, which came about after the Fiona Pilkington case, again where someone felt like they weren't listened to, and that led to disastrous consequences. So we really are in that policy committing to putting the customer first and to resolving these issues for our customers. Secondly, we've changed the procedure, so we've got a really clear procedure now for antisocial behaviour. It's very clear what steps are going to be followed and when, and that's excellent at managing expectations. So the customers are able to see what we're going to do with the case and what's next. So the neighbourhood officers have been working really hard to implement that, and we've had some really good comments from customers since that's been in place. Thirdly, we've committed to working with customer engagement. So we're committing to supporting community cohesion projects where we've got pockets of antisocial behaviour that's long-standing, not appropriate to take legal remedies, but equally, we can't possibly ignore it if we're putting new people into those environments. So we're working with Louise in customer engagement to bring some cohesion to those little cul-de-sacs. Often it's a cul-de-sac, and hopefully by looking at those projects we can replicate those in similar areas and just create safer neighbourhoods. So when someone is signing up to be a Leeds Fed tenant, they know that we're committed to providing a safe neighbourhood and that we'll listen to them if they're suffering with antisocial behaviour. So I'm really proud of our position at the moment on antisocial behaviour. I think we've done a lot to improve it in the 10 months that I've been with the organisation. I think our next step is to communicate that to customers and let them know that we listened to them when they spoke to us about 18 months ago to say that actually they weren't quite satisfied, and we've turned that around. So that's our next thing to do is to go out there and communicate that.